Okay, we're streaming. We should be streaming.
We're streaming. I haven't gotten the ding yet.
Ding, ding. Oh, I got a ding.
Okay.
I didn't get a ding. Why didn't I get a ding?
I don't know.
Oh, cool. The live stream just went on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's already people in the chat.
Yeah, there was a bunch of people waiting. So thanks for waiting, and welcome to the show, our local chatters and our chatters around the world.
Yes.
Yes.
10 people in the chat.
Hello to our chatters in India.
Yes, our chatters in India. Yes.
Yes.
I'm yes.
Namaste.
Oh.
Wait, is that right? I don't know.
And to everybody being affected by Dorian right now, I hope you're all doing okay.
Yes.
That thing is just a little nasty, category 1 or 5 or 3 or whatever it is. Just
I've
decides
never heard of
to
a
be.
category 1.
I think it started to a 5 and then it was downgraded to a 1. Hey, there was a lady that just walked through your room.
Oops. I'm in my living room so that I could gather all my Atari stuff together.
That's awesome.
Even though Nolan didn't work on any of this. Although that's a question to ask.
Sure.
When he comes on, when they went and did a port of game, like did they bring the whole cabinet in, or did they just have like a bench or something?
Right.
Did they have any? Like, what was the deal with that?
I wonder if he was even involved with the logistics of moving cabinets around.
Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have to move cabinets?
I bet he didn't. I bet he
Nobody asks you
didn't.
that.
No,
All right.
the answer would be no, because he would have felt how heavy the Atari cabinets are.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we got to lighten these things up.
Hey, you guys, did you notice Randy's in the chat? Did he just totally avoid Scouts tonight to be here?
Are you at Scouts, Randy?
He's probably watching on his phone. Oh, that's
His
hilarious.
phone with his headphones.
There goes
on.
that lady again. Oh my God.
Is that a baby doll dress?
This is going to be a good show.
Wow.
So, chatters, we're going to have Nolan Bushnell on tonight, obviously. He'll be here in a little bit. But for now, it's the Adam, Brian, and Mark show. And so I'm going to excuse myself because I forgot to, fill up my water glass. And I'll be right back. But in the meantime, Brian, why don't you kick us off on what you've been working on? How's that sound? I'll finish up.
We could do that. We've, let's see, what was the latest project? It was getting everything back to the shop. Oh God, that was painful. So, within the last, was it 2 weeks ago? Did we do the show after? No, we did it when we were moving stuff in. We were getting it ready.
Right,
So,
and I was at Disney World, suffering. So
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. So, so basically, in the last 2 weeks, I moved 55 arcade games from the shop to the Hyatt Hotel, after fixing most of them and then having 6 or 7 of them go down at the Hyatt, and then moved 35 or 40 of those, I couldn't even count by the time we were done, out to Wisconsin, and then the rest of them were moved back to the shop. And from a repair standpoint, I don't know that I've done anything. I mean, we got so many games working. We got Exterminator working. We got Sinistar working. We got War of the Worlds was working great. But I mean, we pounded out so many games that time that after we got them back, I just kind of took the last 2 weeks off as far as
Wow.
game repair goes. It's just been a lot of moving. But the exciting news is we're about to start a printer in our shop, at which point we will be able to print our own marquees, which will be fun.
Oh, so that's coming.
It is. So it's supposed to go live tomorrow.
Mm.
We had a little delay in that the desk we have is 36 inches deep. It needs to be 37.5 inches deep.
Oh,
Yeah.
but so it's short.
It's an inch and a half short.
Mm.
So
You're not gonna just rig something on there on the end of it, and then
I
you got
was
some
ready to-
clamps, or
I was going to throw a board on there, just get a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, slap it down on there. But Susan called off the install, so
oh.
I didn't get control over that one. Brian, I think, is responding that being short is the story of his life. I didn't quite read that. I don't know. So, anyways, what have you been working on, Mark?
let's see. I've got 4 Fastenal deliveries to pick up. I picked up 2.
What?
I know. Yeah. So I bought 4.
Can I just say
Muppets.
something out of
Yes.
turn here?
Yeah.
You both have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
You both have a problem, and you need help.
No, I've solved my problem. I burned a couple of cabinets. I had a Monaco GP that I burned and a Slalom Nintendo cabinet that I burned.
Oh wow. I'd
Yeah,
love. Do you have
good
any video
bonfire.
of that? That would be
I-
good.
This. Did you say Monaco GP?
Yeah,
I hate
the
you.
crate is extra fire.
I
So
hate
what
you.
Moppet? You got Moppets?
Yeah, I got a no. Oh my gosh, let me think. Tugboat
Yep, it was Tugboat.
and Noah's Ark.
Are they? Did they make Christian games?
They are Christian games, but I mean they don't like outright evangelize. They're just sort of they use the topic.
Sure.
Basically.
Kind of like the
Um,
blue cartridges for the Nintendo.
Oh yeah, I forgot. about
Bible
that.
games.
Right.
Very little to do with the Bible, actually.
Right. I definitely think they were like, hey, if we market this right, every church will buy this. You know what I'm saying? Winkety wink.
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
So you have like how many games did you pick up?
Well, just 2 Moppets and this Satan's Hollow Cabaret, which is like right across from me. But since
Nice.
it's not Atari, it's not on camera.
2 Christian
it-
games and Satan's Hollow. That's how you roll.
But I also have to pick up 2 more Moppets and an elevator action. So that's coming. They call me every day like, hey, are you coming? You know, it's like I left something in their living room and they're like, come on.
I did forget to mention I did pick up a game a week ago,
Oh,
Oh,
and I think my one game is the same size as all of your games put together.
what game?
So I ended up picking up a full motion Outrun.
Oh, I love. Really?
is it?
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I
does
saw
it
a
work?
picture of it. Yeah, yeah.
I haven't plugged it in yet. I picked it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Check for mice nests.
Yeah, well, and the bottom is pretty rusted, so I've got a little bit of work to do on getting it repowder coated and some other things. But yeah, that was pretty cool.
So, is it my turn?
Yes.
It is.
Okay, so I basically all I've been working on is getting the guest on Arcade Radio.
Literally.
I did go look at a pinball machine this last week, and unfortunately, I did not buy it because it had been infested by mice.
Ah.
Yeah.
You don't like mice now.
No, I don't. I hate them. You know, the whole millipede thing, gross.
Right.
This thing it would have cost me $500 to salvage it, and it wasn't worth it.
Right.
So all the scoreboards were broken. So I guess it's part of the hobby. You go out, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. I think we should maybe start the show.
Yeah.
Probably a good idea.
Where's the start button?
Well, it's somewhere around here.
Right.
Oh,
Is your
do you have it?
no, but I think it's somewhere behind you. Is do you have more stuff behind you? It seems more beautiful, like the beautiful, warm, glowing light back there.
Yeah. So there's a lithograph of an Atari
Uh-huh.
2600 right there.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
And there's some really awesome tapper art.
There's some tapper art there. That's right there.
That's from Brian Jones's friends down in Orlando.
Sweet. All right, let's get this show on the road.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Bushnell first saw the commercial potential of video games in a game called Space War, which has been played at computer centers around the country for several years.
We all stand on other people's shoulders. I stood on Steve Russell's. Steve Russell was a MIT guy who developed a game called Space War on a PDP-1, and it was magical. It wasn't rocket science to know that if I had that screen with a coin slot, it'd make money. There was just no question. It was a magical thing.
Live from KOYR Studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota, this is Arcade Radio.
Hello, Commander. Computer reporting.
Intruder alert, intruder alert. opponent.
Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 24 of the Arcade Radio Podcast and the season finale. Today is Thursday, September 5th, 2019, and the time is now approximately 7:27 p.m. Central. Thanks for joining us in the Arcadosphere. This is your host, Adam Kal-El Stevens. I'm joined by my co-host, Mark Crypto Shields, and Paradise Arcade Shop proprietor and part-time master of all he surveys, General Brian Zod Thurston Howell III. And tonight, joining us later in the podcast is founder and Atari Chuck E. Cheese, inventor of the first coin-op video game, Mr. Nolan Bushnell. Welcome to the show, chatters. Nolan will be showing up here in just under a half hour. And so I think we're just going to jump right into what we like to call the arcade news.
Pizza. If you really want to create crappy pizza, you can do it really cheaply. And since kids don't care, it's one of those things. And we serve beer and wine so you can keep the parents anesthetized.
Good evening.
The Arcade News, arcades, pinball, industry alumni, arcade openings, collecting, celebrities, world record holders, operators, coin-op, conventions, new products and gadgets, gamers. The Arcade News.
I'm Brian McLeod. I'm Adam Stevens.
We interrupt the ventilated...
And now, the Arcade News with Brian McLeod.
Welcome to the Arcade News tonight. We're going to keep it short and sweet. We have basically the news of the night is, this is via the Wall Street Journal, that Nolan Bushnell, who has really been a pioneer of a lot of things in the arcade world, as we all know, has a new board game that integrates Alexa and a board game for your entertainment. So this is really pushing the kind of limits of what we can do with voice recognition and interaction of the kind of voices in the game and how the game goes. Players take a role on a hard-boiled detective to solve a murder at a mysterious town of Saint Noir. And
which is also the
Adam
name of the game.
Has the game.
Yeah,
and so we thought we would unbox this tonight for the viewers to see.
So literally this arrived. I bought it last night, and it arrived today. Thank you, Amazon. So about $40. And I'm sure Nolan's going to go into all the details, but I thought we'd get a little preview of what this thing is like. The packaging is amazing. I'm going to take off this cellophane so you guys can see it better. It's all like gold lame, film noir, black. You see that? Isn't that gorgeous?
Oh, wow.
I mean, they went all out. And okay, let's open this thing up. And it works with Alexa. I don't know how, but let's ask Nolan when he gets here in a little bit. Oh, here we go. It's so exciting. It's like Christmas. Okay. So here's the inside. Again, still like it's like gold.
Classy.
It is classy. It's very classy. So that's the board game. It's the board for the game, right? And so there's all these little buildings in your city. So that's cool. And let's see what else we got here. Underneath this, there's a deck of cards in here. A small deck of cards.
Okay.
And
an iPhone. What is that over there?
Oh, that thing's lost forever.
Uh-oh.
And like an instruction book. That's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
And a number 2 pencil. So
what are those?
I don't.
What is that for? What do you do that?
I wonder if this is an eraser. Let me just open it up here. So there's like a little gun on it. You guys see this?
Okay.
It's like is that the weapon? Oh, there's all kinds of weapons. It's like
it's a box full of is like the pipe and all the Colonel Munsters,
except for it's like a bunch of guns.
So according to the news,
there's
there are multiple storylines and endings, and it actually randomizes who the killer is.
Yeah.
And how things go, so that each game is new and different.
It looks like it's a little bit like Clue and 10 Little Indians.
We should ask Nolan if there's a little pokey inserted into Alexa to make sure that the games are randomized.
I mean, you guys, this is really cool. And if you look at the box, it's got his signature on it. or his stamp of approval anyway. So it says Nolan Bushnell, founder of the original Atari company. And then just ask Alexa to order 25 pounds of creamed corn.
Hey, that showed up on my email as I have something on my shopping list.
We were
that's pretty cool.
screwing around with Brian's Alexa earlier.
Right.
It's not. It can't hear us right now, right? You're on the headphones.
No, it cannot hear us.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. Hey, Alexa, order 75 pounds of Huggies diapers.
What's that? Well, with one click, bam.
So,
So it says, Alexa shopping. One thing was added to your cart.
Oh no.
Creamed corn.
Andy Baldwin in the chat says, "Oh, the irony that the guy who created the arcade game is now selling a board game."
That is true.
That's kind of cool, but it is an interactive computer-based game, so I have to kind of. All right, so I guess we're moving on to your segment, Mark.
Really?
Yeah, already. We only have. Let's do it because we're gonna have some fun tonight with this, I think. So.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
This is fall of 1975. Did you know that Chuck E. Cheese was born inside Atari? It's not Coyote Pizza, it's Rick Rat's Pizza. My marketing guy said, no way. He said, this is a restaurant. You don't get health permits if you have rats.
Back in '82, I used to be able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile.
Back to the cave with Time Runner.
Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
Why, yes, there is, Dr. Brown. Music cue, Back to the Cave with Time Runner 1972. I'm reading the title. Whoops.
Oops.
Have another drink.
Welcome to the show, Mark. Welcome to the show.
Fine.
How long have you been on? You've been on like 3 years, and you just read the music.
I think you've done that once.
Probably.
So, it's the year 1972, and in the arcade news, Pong, a table tennis sports game featuring simple two-dimensional graphics, becomes one of the earliest commercial, successful arcade video games. Alan Alcorn created the Pong. The Pong? Is that how we do it? I don't know.
Alan Alcorn,
right. He
Yep.
created the Pong as a training exercise assigned to him by Atari co-founder Nolan Bushnell. And when Nolan gets on the show, I'm going to ask him if he can assign me an exercise so that, the same thing can happen, basically.
That's interesting. Half of our screen is now just says Skype, which is great because Brian fell off the end of the earth. So what's the next article, Mr.?
The next article, at the box office in 1972, and I just sort of summarized it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of bad box office. But the good of the box office was The Godfather, The Poseidon Adventure, What's Up, Doc. By the way, when I was a kid and I would see an ad for What's Up, Doc, I would get super excited because I was like, oh my God, they made a movie with Bugs Bunny. And then it turns out, no. It's just some Barbra Streisand movie.
Have you seen Poseidon Adventure?
Many times. That was like the 5th videotape my parents bought.
That's Gene Hackman, right?
Gene Hackman, Shelley Winters,
Yeah.
Grandpa from Willy Wonka.
It's very sad. It's a disaster movie, right? Basically, kind of.
Yeah, I mean the boat flips upside down and all the passengers just happen to be in the bottom, so they have to go all the way up to the top, and they have, they're like, oh, they have to swim through some things. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I can't remember who was. Maybe Susan Day was in it. I'm not 100% sure who the pretty girl was, but it's still a good movie. It stands up. I think that everybody should check out Poseidon Adventure. The Godfather, it's a classic.
Godfather. That's about Dom DeLuise in a pizza costume, right?
That's right.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
Aw. Forgot about Godfather's Pizza. That's gone now, right? Hey, so the other two movies, it's funny, I actually left one of these out, but
sure.
The Green Door was one of the movies that was super popular, which is really strange that it showed up in the top 5.
It is. But it was 1972. I was like
exactly
0.
Right, exactly. You guys Google that if you want to figure out.
All right, we'll Google it.
And then Deliverance and Cabaret. Those were the most of the the good movies. And then there were some some boners down there at the bottom.
Let's talk about the TV because we got to get into the game.
The TV. What was going on the TV? So this is strange. I never realized this.
The boob tube.
On the boob tube in 1972, everybody had a show. And I could not believe I was looking through the fall 1972, 1973 schedule.
Yeah.
And it literally, everything is like this. You're going to freak out.
Okay.
This is what we had. The Sandy Duncan Show.
Oh, my God.
The new Dick Van Dyke Show.
Doesn't she have like a glass eye, Sandy Duncan?
Everybody says that. I just thought it was like a wonky eye.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah. Okay, the new Dick Van Dyke Show.
Doris
Any comments
Day.
about that? Okay,
No.
you're good. Okay. The Doris Day Show. The Paul Lynde Show. the
Paul Lynde. Paul Lynde.
Remember him, the middle square?
Yeah, he was awesome.
Uncle. Oh crap, I can't remember his name. He was on Bewitched.
Sure.
The Julie Andrews Hour, the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour, the Flip Wilson Show, the Dean Martin Show, the Helen Reddy Show, the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and the Bob Newhart Show.
There's like everybody's first name and last name show. You just insert the Mark Shields show.
Right.
Fantastic.
It's incredible.
I said fantastic. Deal with it. It's the season finale. Next year I'll change my adjective, okay?
There was also a show called The Sixth Sense, but I didn't have enough time while I was writing the show notes to figure out what that was about. And I don't think ghosts were involved.
Okay.
Hey, Adam, I have this subject now that it's the last episode of the third season.
Yeah?
And I really want to bring it up and talk about it before there's no chance to do it again.
Oh, is it okay. Well, is it
One of the things that's really fun with games is the whole idea of the playful mind and how can we make
What's in the juke?
Ah, yeah!
Oh my gosh. That's always
Adam.
good. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a subject that now that it's the last episode.
Sure,
of the
sure.
season-
Okay. You already read that. All right, so here what's in the juke? We're going to do it a little different today. Do you want me to go or you want to go?
Yes. You go.
Okay, so tonight every participant has a chance to win a t-shirt. That means if you are playing the game, if you put one answer in tonight, it doesn't matter if it's the wrong answer, you're going to get entered into a drawing for one of 3 t-shirts. A free t-shirt.
Ooh, you gonna bring some?
That looks like this. So we got the old logo.
Right.
We got the season 3 logo, which you can't really see.
Yeah, headphones, right?
And then we got a big white t-shirt with the black logo on there. You're going to win one of those t-shirts, depending on your size. So, you'll win a t-shirt no matter what. So the top 3 are going to get drawn for a t-shirt. When you win, we'll get your name, we'll get your size, and we'll get it out to you. So, Mark, should we just get this going right here?
Pull it up. Pull the trigger.
All right, here we go. Here's the. We forgot to tell people how it's played.
Yes, What's in the Juke is played where we play a tiny little portion of a song, and the chatters online get to guess the artist and the title of the song.
Right, and if you do both of them, you get a full point.
Full point.
And if you get one of them, you get a half point.
Half point.
Right?
That's correct. I will be keeping score. I will
Sweet.
base your answer on the YouTube chat as it appears before me, not as it appears before you.
Right. And so for the last 75% of this of season 3, you play for glory, and that's what you're doing tonight. And then everybody gets a chance to win a t-shirt. That's how it's going to go. So if you participate tonight, you get a chance to get a t-shirt. All right, ready? Okay, you can't just say things right now. You can't say things right now. We haven't even started. Okay.
Everybody.
All right, here we go. First track.
Yeah. It sounds like it.
There you go.
Billy Seven.
Billy
is in the
Seven
front.
is he's on the board. He's on the board with a half point. And who got the Looking Glass? Andy Baldwin with half point.
Half point.
Am I right there?
You are correct. Let me
Sweet.
go ahead and enter that into the.
Actually, I think Randy Gelking got it first, didn't he? Brandy and then Randy Gelking.
No. The band is Looking Glass. Oh, no, he did get it way up there.
Right after Billy 7.
I missed that. Randy Gelking. You're right. Thank you. That's why we have 3 judges, right? Okay, next track.
So hold on. So Randy got the title?
He got the name of the band.
Name of the band. Okay, got
Yep.
it. And Billy got the title.
Yep.
Okay, got it. All right, we're here. We're ready.
And just so you know, Billy, it is Brandy with a Y, but we're giving it to you. Anyway, here we go. There we go. Get it on, bang a gong. We have a couple of varying titles. Bang a Gong, Andy Baldwin is going to get the title for that. And who is it?
Randall.
Not CCR. It is T-Rex. Randall. Nice job, buddy. All right. Okay, next track. And so we've got Brandy by Looking Glass and Bang a Gong, Get It On by T-Rex. Here comes the next track. There we go. America. Randy Gelking gets America. House Knee Name. Billy 7 is dang close, but Andy pulls it out with a horse with no name. Andy Baldwin with half a point and Randy with half a point.
Half point.
Together they get a full point, but it's really only half a point each, right? This is a good fight. Right, here comes the next track. All right. Randy Gelking with Popcorn. Adam, you were dang close, right behind him. You just were like a split second behind him. And it's by Hot Butter. Randy gets a full point for that.
Full points.
Holy
yes.
Full point.
Full point for Randy Gelking.
Fire.
He is on fire tonight. Mr. Randy Gelking's taking. You know, if Kelsey were here, this might be a different game. I'm going to call him Kelsey until he comes back on the show. I'm going to tell him.
More seconds of that song.
He's probably listening right now going, I could beat all of you.
I know.
He's going to jump in at the last second and take all the points, right?
The next 4.
It's an 8-track.
It's
There's
an
only
8-track.
8 songs.
That's right. Which I don't know why that is, but
I don't know. Well, that's that sound you play just before you start a song, right?
Right. All right. So that's Popcorn by Hot Butter. Randy Gelking, full point. Here comes the next track.
She packed my bags last night.
Done.
I think that's good enough, don't you guys?
I love it.
I feel like playing it again. Oh, Andy Baldwin, Elton John, and Rocket Man. Andy gets the full point.
Best dancer of the night, Billy 7 and Ron John.
You guys look at it. Look at all the Rocket Man, Elton Johns in there. Holy crap! Everybody knows that song. We should play a little bit more of that, don't you think?
She packed my bags last night. Pre-flight. 0 hour. 9 a.m.
Oh, that's such a good song. All right, here comes the next track. Thanks for that, it's Elton John, Rocket Man, and the next track is coming up. Putting in that 8-track, and here you go.
Feel my temperature rising.
That's so good.
This is a phenomenal year. I'm kind of disappointed that Nolan couldn't make it right here. CCR, not CCR, Steve. You're just guessing.
Billy 7's got it.
Billy 7 got it.
He got Elvis, and who got the name of the title?
David Popadick. Popadick?
David Popadick.
Yeah, that's a real name. Come on.
David Popadick, welcome to the show. Burning Love is correct answer, and for that, you get a half point.
Half point.
All right, so Mark, tell us this.
I gotta say though, if Billy's playing on a phone, he should do this every time. Buying Bunk Live.
Yeah,
is
it's
the
pretty
name
fun.
of that song.
Mark, why don't you give us the update? Who's winning?
Yeah.
At the moment, Randy is ahead at the lead with 2.5 points, followed closely by Andy Baldwin, 2 points.
Jeez.
Billy 7 in third with 1 full point.
Full point.
And David Popadick, the half point.
All right. So we have a host of winners. All right, here comes the next track. Putting in the 8 track, and here it comes.
Up, down.
Hey, that's the name of an arcade place that.
Up, down?
Brian
Yeah, I think you're right.
takes care of.
Let's hear that again.
Up, down.
Where I spend my tokens every night.
Andy
Right?
got both.
Andy Baldwin got
nailed
both of
it.
them? Wow, full
Pulls
point.
into the first place.
Man, that's just crazy.
How many
right.
more tracks do we have left?
We're down to 1 track. This one's going to be a little different. All right, here we go. I'm putting in the 8 track.
My pappy said, son, you're gonna... Have you heard the story of the hot rod race with the Fords and Lincolns was setting the pace? That story is true, I'm here to say I was driving that Model A.
I love that.
I skipped
the first
beginning.
rap song.
It is. That's a great song. All right, play that again.
Oh, Randy knows it. He's just...
Hot Rod
Oh,
Lincoln.
Dave.
David
Look at
Popadick. Bam, you're in it. You want to burn that song. Lance Burkhart, welcome to the show. Good to hear you, buddy. All right.
Agent 57 comes in with Commander Cody.
Wow. It is by Commander Cody. And that concludes the points. So Mark, give us the points.
Okay, let's see. And who got... Oh, David got it. So he got the half point. Let me calculate here. Okay, that's the sound of my calculator. Okay, here we go. The winner of tonight's What's in the Juke 8-track edition is Andy Baldwin. 3 points.
There are a lot of people in the chat tonight. We're gonna have to go back and look at everybody who participated. I don't think I can do this. In the next 5 minutes. You know.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll be able to copy and paste.
Yep.
I think. Yes. Randy came in second, and David Popadick coming out of nowhere, tying.
Dude,
actually.
I love it.
With Billy 7 for third place.
Sweet. Okay, so all of you that participated when we started up, even those that were guessing before we started the contest, we're gonna put you in a drawing, and then we're gonna email you. We're gonna reach out to you.
We're gonna send weird people to your house.
That's right. We'll get your
Mostly
shirts
Adam.
somehow. Yes, this is a great idea. So we have approximately 5 minutes to kill.
Let's talk about tight underwear.
Tight underwear.
No, wait.
I'm wearing underoos. Does that count?
We could, since Mark's been on such a buying spree, we could talk about what is the next game that we're trying to get.
That sounds like a long and convoluted topic. I'm trying to get it a mega race. Do you know anyone that might have one of those?
Do you want me to carry the camera over to where it's sitting?
Aw.
It's gonna make me cry. He's holding it hostage until I get that Monaco GP out of his shop.
I think I should. There's no Monaco.
Steve Taki's just throwing out Clint Black in the middle. It's like we're done. We're done, but you're still guessing.
Steve!
That's good times.
Houston.
Let's play Who's in My Mouth.
Who's in my mouth for the next 4 minutes? Which reminds me, why do I have Hot Shot here? That's not right. That needs to be removed.
You know, it was one of my... I forgot to talk about it. I fixed my sound issue on my Millipede. That was one of the things I did.
We could tell the story about how we ended up getting Nolan on the show.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Then I could tell the reaction Adam had when he got off the phone.
I don't think that's appropriate.
So if you've ever seen like a kid get like the ultimate Christmas present,
So for season 4,
and like squeal, that was Adam's reaction after getting off the phone with Nolan's wife. I mean, he was incredibly professional. sat there, no, thank you very much. Yes, no, I think this is good. Sounded amazing. And then gets off the phone, and we're sitting there watching him, and he just came across the room like a kid that just got like the greatest present ever.
Well, that's probably true. I mean, how many kids that, hey, do you guys remember when we had Tyler on? Tyler Bushnell?
Tyler Bushnell, yeah, he pulled over onto the side of the road.
And do you remember he was talking about there was no Atari 2600 in his house?
Yeah, that's terrible.
I mean, I kind of want to ask Nolan about that.
Was Tyler?
It's like, hey, Daddy Bushnell, did you?
Daddy-o.
We should have the chatter. I mean, this is a good time for the chatters also. If you guys have questions, throw them in the chat.
You're going to want to put them in the chat.
We can't promise we'll get to all of them, but I've copied a couple down that I've seen go by. So if you have questions, get them up there.
Give 0FX Nolan Bushnell greatest pitcher ever. You might be on the wrong podcast.
I did forget to mention, I did pick up an Atari baseball.
Oh, cool. I have 2 Atari basketballs. Do you want those?
It's really a problem when you buy enough games that you forget that you bought stuff.
Yeah, it is a problem. I told you, you have a problem. Okay. Yeah, so that's interesting. Give 0FX. Welcome to the show. I haven't seen you before. That's good, right?
He's been here.
Greaseball.
He's a regular.
Greaseball
too.
Greaseball's here.
Greaseball hasn't been here in a while. Greaseball, do you just come here for the season finale?
No, he was here last week.
Oh, was he? Damn
or 2 weeks ago. I always say last week, but it was really every 2 weeks. First of all, chatters, thank you for joining in on the season 3 finale of Arcade Radio Podcast. This is kind of a milestone. It's 3 years of doing this show now. I mean, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Oh, you know what? Since we just told that little story about how we got Nolan, I'm going to read. Adam texted me on Facebook Messenger on Tuesday at 10:30, and it said, "Well, we're in trouble. We have no guest." That's where we were on Tuesday.
Yeah, and then some stuff happened, and the forecast went up to like 87%.
I know, right? It was dipping. Like when I left, it was 65%.
All I want to say is because of that, we already have our season 4 premiere guest, and we're not going to say who it is because we have to make sure that happens. But I reached out to another fairly well-known person in the
iconic.
Iconic, I would say iconic.
Yes.
And he was very, very gracious.
He was going to do this show, I think, right?
Yeah, if Nolan
if
Nolan said no, we would have still had a guest tonight. It just would have been someone completely different.
Right.
And I'm going into my Casey Kasem right now.
So don't lose our number. Because season 4 is right around the corner.
All right, should we try to get Nolan in here right now? Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
right, let's see how that goes.
Yeah, this ought to be interesting. We may end up doing this from time to time. Just inviting people
at the end.
At the end of the show when we're done.
Sometimes that happens where they
right.
I don't.
Is Mark drinking Zima? Is the question in the room?
Yes, Zima. I have like a stash of Zima that whenever there's like a nostalgic guest or something. I'm drinking it on top of my Warlords. Warlords, Centipede, Cocktails, Marble Madness, Tempest, Battlezone. That's it.
All right, so I gotta figure out.
How do you call? Adam actually accidentally called Nolan earlier, and he picked up.
Yeah,
which
he
is
did.
Good for us. So now we know it's a real number.
Right. We were like, okay, so that's kind of legit, right?
Then he talked about how nice his wife was because she was very nice to him on the phone, while Nolan didn't know how to hang up.
Well, we shouldn't bust him out on that. That's
I don't even know how to hang up half the time.
No, well, it was
especially at the end of a WebEx. You're like, how do you end the meeting?
Yeah, turn the whole thing off. Just hold the power button down.
Just turn your computer off because that's what you do.
Right.
We are up to 33 chatters.
That's great.
people watching the show.
Hopefully that'll go up in a couple minutes when we get him on the show. All right, let's see. Her. That's not. Here's the problem. Okay, let me just get this. Here we go. Chats.
Yeah.
The chats.
Nice. That's a nice watch, Adam. What is that?
Oh, this is yeah, it's a Samsung. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool because I made my own background here for it. For
The Donkey Kong?
Yeah, it's got a Donkey Kong. Yeah. Anyway, we'll take that. Oh, there we go.
I accidentally dropped my Apple Watch of 3 years, and the top popped off, and now I can't use it.
So I think somebody tried to chat with us earlier. All right.
Okay. It's exciting.
This is exciting. And add him. He can join on his own too, but because he has the link.
Right.
But we'll get him here. Let's see here.
Is he actually Skyping?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Let's see. There we go.
Arcade Jason thinks Nolan is just going to be a cardboard cutout. Actually, he's represented by a Skype S. Just coincidentally.
We hired an impersonator to call in and.
Right. Yeah, we did. Let's see here and.
All right, 3 minutes.
I think you're about the creation of Surf Planet.
Yes.
He's not in Great Britain. I know that.
What?
You had him before.
I did. I'm just.
Where is Nolan?
Well, yeah, I can't share his.
Yep.
His Skype name.
Right. It's like here,
Super
everybody.
secret.
Here it is. Yeah.
It's like I know P. Diddy. I actually know his email address, and if I told you what it was, you'd be like, "That is so easy to guess." But I can't, so I'm not going to do it.
Oh, here we go.
Uh-huh.
Let's just see if we can add him in here.
One time I was at a movie premiere, and P. Diddy's elbow hit me, and I was like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's P. Diddy." And then I was like, "It's okay." I'm filling in the space with stories.
Hang on a second.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Well, hello there. Nobody.
Here we are.
7:59. We're right on time.
That worked.
It's good to see you. Is that your lab?
It is.
It has grown.
Well, it's one of those things where I have a diversity of hobbies, and I still actually solder and check things out and build shit.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, that's what we do a lot of the time too.
Well, my kids believe that my lab here is a hazard zone.
Well, maybe so.
I've got enough parts here that I could build a space shuttle if I wanted to.
One of our chatters just said you're in the trenches, and one of our other chatters says, "Hey, it's the man, the legend. Welcome to the show."
Good to be here.
So
I
do have an incredible introduction for you.
I've got.
Are we ready for it?
I think Jack on ice.
Are we losing
I think
him?
he's got some Jack and Ice, but I think we're hiccuping. We'll be right there.
All right.
All of a sudden,
We got you. So he's all the way in California. He's away from Dorian, so it should be okay.
Yeah.
If this is the picture we're gonna have, Nolan the whole night.
He's grabbing the Jack and Coke or
Right.
Jack and Ice.
Should we try to reconnect? There he is.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
There we go. We almost lost you.
Yeah, I think it's the gremlins in cyberspace.
Yes.
Well, we just wanted to have a little bit of an introduction. So please, welcome to the Arcade Radio Show. American entrepreneur and electrical engineer, the co-inventor of the very first commercial arcade game ever produced, Computer Space, the inventor of Pong, inductee into the Video Game Hall of Fame, and the Consumer Electronics Association Hall of Fame, winner of a BAFTA Fellowship Innovator of the Year Award, named one of Newsweek's 50 Men Who Changed America, and the founder of numerous companies, including Atari and Chuck E. Cheese. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for the one and only Mr. Nolan Bushnell. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And, you know, we know that you've told the story over and over again, but before Chuck E. Cheese, before Syzygy, before Atari, before you played Space War on the PDP-1 at University of Utah College, you were a regular kid. Can you kind of just take us back and tell us what your interests were when you were a kid and what drove you to pursue engineering?
I think that a couple of sort of, I've asked myself, why am I the way I am? And I think sometimes the question I have a little bit is my life been a series of accidents? And I want to just relate 2 or 3 sort of definitive points in my life. One, 8-year-old Nolan, sitting at the dinner table, my mother said, we've got way too many strawberries. We always had a pretty good sized garden out and back, vegetables and what have you. She says, we've got way too many strawberries. We're going to have to give some of them away. The very next day, I was accompanying her to a grocery store, and I noticed in the produce section, there were baskets of strawberries for 50 cents. And I thought to myself, there's an opportunity. So I went home, got all the little baskets that we'd saved around the house, filled them with strawberries, and went up and down the street and sold strawberries door to door for 50 cents a basket. That evening, I had $5 in cash, which for an 8-year-old kid was an astonishing amount of money in a world in which my weekly allowance was 15 cents.
So this is like 1954, 1955.
Yeah. And so it really gave me this idea that there's another way to get money rather than waiting for the week to roll by or to mow a lawn or do other little odd jobs. Let's be clever and you can make a lot of money. Second thing, 3rd grade. Mrs. Cook had a magic science box, and she would assign one student to get to play with the magic science box. It was locked in a closet, and we go on a back table and set up the experiments. And I was assigned with the idea of the thing on electricity. And they had big dry cells and wires and switches and lights and what have you. And, told you how to wrap a wire around a nail and turn it into an electromagnet. And I did that, and I was hooked. That night, I went home and set up a card table in the corner of my bedroom, got every piece of wire, battery, old flashlight, what have you, and started to tinker, and never stopped.
That's cool.
Step 3.
Oh.
There's more to this because he's not even in college yet.
Yeah, there was a neighbor who was a ham radio operator. And he also had a surplus electronics store. We were adjacent to Hill Air Force Base, and they were constantly surplusing electronic parts and things like that. And he would buy them and sell them in a little mail order catalog that he put together every month. But he was my neighbor. He was just four houses down the block. And I started going down and hanging out with him. And he says, well, why don't you get your ham radio license? And so at 10 years old, I got my first ham radio license.
That is awesome. 10 years old.
Yeah.
And 10 years old, I was playing the VCS, man.
Yeah. And so I think that became an important thing, because in ham radio, you learn a lot about electricity and electronics and various things. Plus, it was a way to be a poser. Like, nobody expected a 10-year-old to be on the ham radio waves. And so I could pretend I was an adult effectively. and so I was a poser, and I kind of liked it. Step 4.
Oh. Okay.
My parents allowed me to fix our television.
Oh.
And that was the world where the televisions were all vacuum tubes. And when a television broke, it was basically a tube that had gone bad. And so if you knew a little bit about how the TV worked, you could sort of diagnose what was happening on the screen and figure out which tube was bad, replace it, and all of a sudden it's working again. So it was in a world in which a house call, and the TV sets were huge, and so it was all a house call. Everybody charged $5 for it. Well, I had a problem that I couldn't, I was a kid, and these TVs would cost a month's salary for a lot of people, so it was a significant thing. And so I had to put in a marketing program to let a kid come in and play with their TV. So I charged 50 cents for a house call.
Wow.
But I found out that I could buy tubes at a really big discount wholesale. And when I replaced them, I'd mark them up like crazy.
$4.50.
And so all of a sudden, as a 11, 12, 13-year-old kid, I was actually earning as much as the typical, middle-class line worker at the military, the places around town.
Did you know at that point in your life that you were an entrepreneur already? Or was it just like something that was inborn that you just kept running with?
I don't know, but I think that it was, in fact, these steps that if I wasn't born that way, I learned how to be.
Yeah.
And so I look back on that as the formation story of kind of deciding that it was really important to have a gig, not a job.
Yeah. Well, the cool. So I love this because it is everything that you stand for. I've done. So obviously having you on the show is an honor. I've been doing a ton of research, and you have always been an entrepreneur, as far as I can tell, and an idea man and an engineer, and you have, are you? I think you're 76 now. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you have new ideas every day, and now you're working for a company called X2, and
actually not. We just licensed out that product, I've started another company
Okay.
that follows that on. You know, we had some funding issues on the other company that was being supplied by some guys that failed to live up to their promises, so we all quit and sort of went away.
So
it's called now Versix.
Okay.
VIRSIX.
Are you guys in control of this?
Yes.
So yesterday I ordered this, and it came today, and we unboxed it about 15 minutes ago. But can you tell us a little bit about Saint Noir? What is it? I have this. I'm gonna play it because I have my Alexa and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
You can't say that word because all of a sudden it triggers my
Alexa, order 75 pounds of cream corn now.
Oh no.
So in the pre-show, Nolan, you missed it. Adam actually got my Alexa to put 75 pounds of cream corn on my, and I get this email saying that I have something on my shopping list now.
So there's a part of me that's a little bit obsessive compulsive. And I do deep dives on things that I get curious about. And so my curiosity is not satisfied until I feel like I kind of understand what's going on. And this thing really started when I thought that it would be cool to have a house in which I could walk from room to room and turn lights on and off with my voice. And so I got a bunch of switches and several Echo Dots in various rooms here and there. And when it works, like right now I can say, Alexa, garage off.
Yes.
Alexa, garage on.
Nice.
And just for a little bit of fun, Alexa, X-ray on. Oh, you probably can't see these over here.
It's funny because
I have a string of lights.
Oh, those are cool. So all of my one of the things we didn't introduce ourselves. By the way, I'm Adam. We have Mark and Brian here. We're all arcade collectors. We are all fans of Atari in the early days. We understand the whole story of Atari. But my point is one of the great things that I do with my arcade, and I don't know, Brian also does it, is we have everything hooked up to Alexa. Every single game. So I can turn on Donkey Kong. I can turn on Tempest. I can turn on Pole Position. I can turn on Dig Dug individually, or I can turn on the entire arcade. It's such a cool thing. I mean,
it's brilliant.
We're in a
good on you guys.
Yeah. and it's lights too. I can turn on my bedroom lights. I can turn them off. I'm like all over this technology, and so I'm super excited about Saint Noir. I'm super excited about the fact that you're taking advantage of it and you recognize it. But I just we're with you, buddy. that's what.
Yeah.
So anyway, to continue the story, I got fascinated with the whole idea of voice-activated artificial intelligence. And being a gamer, I thought to myself, what would be really cool? And that would be, I want to be able to have a conversation with an AI that passes the Turing test of believability. That is there a human that I'm having a conversation with, or am I talking with an artificial construct?
Sure.
And so, to start, I thought, let's do a game in which you're a detective and you're interviewing suspects.
I love this. I love this.
Saint Noir is a creepy town. And it has creepy people. and there has been a murder. We don't know where the murder took place because the body was dragged out to the town square. We do know how the murder was accomplished. We know whether it was a stabbing weapon, a blunt instrument, a poison, or a gun. That's all we know. And so now we are going around the town and we are interviewing townspeople. And the rules are that the suspects have to tell the truth unless they're the perp. If they're the perp, they can lie. And so you're investigating the town, you're interviewing the suspects, and you're trying to cross-correlate who's telling the truth and who is not. That's the game.
I love it. I love that concept. I mean, and the cool thing, and you can't really experience it until you play it with Alexa, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember, we haven't used the Echo voices. We've taken Hollywood actors, put them in a sound studio, recorded basically the equivalent of about 8 movies. Because when you do Boolean branching and things like that, it gets,
a lot of permutations.
Yeah.
But we wanted to have atmospherics. So if you're in the bar, you hear the background of the bar. And the bartender, the barmaid, is ditzy and sounds ditzy. And the sheriff is kind of a curmudgeon. And he sounds like he smoked 7 packs of cigarettes a day for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And, and the head of the university is a pompous ass. And, and so being a video game guy, people always say, well, what's the resolution? And I say, well, it's infinite because it's limited only to your imagination. Because I can close my eyes and see these people.
So what is the most enticing part of Saint Noir 2? So this game is obviously you want to involve a broader audience. And by that I mean you want to bring in families if they can, or like friends, and you're playing this game. What is your goal with Saint Noir?
Well, this is part of our marketing strategy. I'm doing the Edward Teller or the Einstein mea culpa. When they said, gee, we wouldn't have invented all this stuff if we'd known it was going to create these great big bombs. Well, I'm saying, hey, I created some video games and it sort of has isolated people. And now I want to bring them all together back around a board game where you can elbow each other and have a beer and have a good time together.
I think that's the fundamental, and we're going to get to this later in the show, but I think that's a fundamental point that people have lost in video games. Not necessarily lost, but they don't realize that it's happening, and it's a super important part of arcade gaming culture. So let me ask you this question. On a spectrum of game player to game inventor, where do you fall?
Lock.
Did I lose him?
What or yours?
Oh, here he goes.
Hi there.
Yeah. So from
Lock.
Yep, you're back.
Good. So from a spectrum from game player to game inventor, where do you fall?
Let me do a ping.
Sure.
See if it's my side.
Sure. I see him locking up there. Mark, you're still there.
Not my side. I've still got a good connection.
We still see you.
It's the Minnesota California connection. We'll work it out. We're the frozen tundra here. Is what can we do?
It's the mass exodus of people leaving Minnesota at this time of year, looking for better weather in California. So
exactly right. So my
Traffic
question
set up one way.
My question is, so you there's a spectrum, right? There's the inventor side of you, and there's the game side. Where do you fall? Where do you think you fall? Right in the middle of that.
I have no idea.
Oh, that's interesting. I find that interesting. So you play, but you also invent.
But I also, I think in some ways I consider myself a scientist as much as anything else. And very often my curiosity leads me to research, which leads me often to a business. And that curiosity often triggers my obsessive compulsive nature, which says, hey, now I've thought of this. And I always think about things in terms of a balance sheet and a marketing program, and then I have to do it.
I love that. That statement very, basically there's a little bit of a confession there. Like if you didn't have to deal with all the paperwork and you could do anything you wanted, at heart, you're the inventor.
I think so.
I love that.
I love working on marketing programs.
Yeah, and marketing is like it's a challenge. I love that, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of the really neat things that you said in that is, and this is one of the things I think a lot of people. I used to be an engineer and do design, and one of the things that people forget sometimes, and you said, which was really a neat insight to your business, is you see something, you have an idea, and then you do research. So it's like the idea comes out of kind of the air, but the manifestation of how that idea is useful or how it can be represented or brought to life is from actually going out and looking at the world and seeing how you can fit that idea into the world with what you're learning and what you're doing. And that's a piece that a lot of people don't realize. It's not enough to just have this like, oh, look, there's this thing over here.
Totally.
It's going and figuring out how does that fit.
Yeah.
So
I'm very dismissive about, oh, they stole my idea. I said, no, you had the idea and you sat on your ass and didn't do anything about it. That you don't own an idea. Just because you had a shower and had an idea doesn't mean you own the idea.
Right.
You only own it through research, pushing it. I call it moving an idea up the mountain towards reality. An idea just ephemerally is basically dog shit.
So I have a question. This is a little bit more. So about 14 years ago, you were deep into U-Wink.
Yeah.
And you and your daughter, Alyssa, were working hard on making these bistros happen. And I love this story because of the innovative nature of it. And the thing that strikes me in the story is that you invented things that are now in use today. But what I want to talk about is I want to ask you a little bit about it because in the article that I read in Wired, you were featured, maybe with Alyssa as well. You said, my goal is to create games that almost... first of all, can you tell us a little bit about what U-Wink Bistro was about?
It was about ordering everything at the table.
Okay.
And bringing families together in a slightly different way. I wanted Chuck E. Cheese to bring families together, and I kind of did. But in reality, the parents were sitting at the table, and the kids were out in the game room. So it kind of, they were all in the same building, but they weren't all with themselves. So I thought, let's bring the games to the table. Let's drop the cost of wait service by having, ordering at the table. And then we'll have the whole restaurant compete against each other for some of the games. Other games, you can win prizes and what have you. And I wanted it to be a more seamless environment in which everybody was at the table, and parents could play against kids, and kids could play against other tables, and really have an extra communal gaming environment.
And I think this is a really cool concept. I'm like, Brian and I have talked about, Brian, you can back me out this, but we've talked about like doing a cocktail lounge, right? So like everybody can sit around the old arcade games. But the cool thing about U-Ink is they were new games. So you could play like Pong, for like a version of Pong against your opponent, and maybe against the table next to you. And involved in that, Nolan, was a game called Ping, right? Am I right?
Right.
Can you tell us about Ping?
Yeah, it was Pong without a license.
That's cool.
Uh-huh.
That's cool. That's cool. So you just a little bit of a different sound maybe, and you could play against your neighbors. That's really cool though. So like
yeah, you got to understand that the only thing that was copyrightable was the name. Right. All the rest of it, I could have copied Pong identically and named it something.
So the thing that struck me about the Wired article back then was your quote, and I'm just going to quote you because I think this is really important. And I think this is something that both Mark and Brian and all of the people that are in the chat right now agree with. And you said at the time, this is 14 years ago, and I think this is really cool. My goal is to create games that almost retreat into the background. I'm interested in bringing in them back to their role as a social facilitator,
right?
Which I think is like really, really important. And the way party games help people interact. The game should be secondary to the social interaction between the players, and I think that's what made arcades special. You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
So Mark, you're saying you agree?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm. My question is.
Go ahead.
My question is sort of, I'm jumping around here, but as far as the games, and I'm thinking of the 2600 games, I'm right now surrounded by the classic arcade games, Warlord, Centipede, Battlezone, Tempest. And I was just curious, when you were at Atari and you made the ports of these games, what was the philosophy behind having to squeeze complex gameplay into a tiny little 4K hole, and was there, what was did you have any kind of a mantra about that, or was it just do the best you can do? Or did you personally like bring the games into the office, or,
it was I think you hit it.
Yes.
Do the best you can do, because
right.
The Atari 2600 was so flawed on so many ways.
But it was awesome.
It had 128 bytes of RAM. Not kilobytes, bytes.
Bytes.
And so that just, everything was hard. And, we had to hike through snow uphill to school both ways. And so we always knew that the system was flawed and that we had to do some very, very interesting things to make it work. And And I think that was kind of the main focus at that point in time. At that point in time, the arcade business was actually more important or more interesting as a development platform because we were getting a lot more speed in the microprocessors. Remember, we really didn't have microprocessors in coin-op games until about 77. And so the games before that were all state machines. They weren't von Neumann architecture at all. But once the microprocessor got fast enough, all of a sudden it opened up a lot of things that we could do in arcade games that were really difficult before. And then as we developed vector graphics, for Tempest and Lunar Lander and some of those things, asteroids, that opened up a whole new level of things that we could do that were really cool. And it was a much more satisfying palette in the late 70s.
Well, that answers my question. As far as testing, like usability testing and things like that, what did you do? Did you have people come in, or was it always like sending things on site, or did you actually personally test anything? Like where did your feedback come into play?
Oh my God, you are the gross thing that we did. When I say it had no nuance,
okay,
is you'd count the quarters at the end of the week, and you knew if you had a good game or not. But you had no idea about when people would flame out, whether they were having a satisfaction, what have you. You only knew if you got replays. And we tried to fix that a little bit. But the technology was so bad. But are you acquainted with a chart recorder?
Yes.
Yeah.
We actually put a low-speed chart recorder in the bottom of the game that would record how long the people played, and when they played. And we'd come back after 3 or 4 days, and the bottom of the cabinet would be just full of paper. And then we go through and try to extract data from that. And that's as good as our analytics was. This is in the 70s. And it was, compared to what we can do now, I mean, it was hiking uphill in the snow both ways.
Both ways again. Good times.
So were there any games that you would count the quarters on that you thought this has to do, that the game that you thought should be doing a lot better, and the quarter counts just weren't coming back where you thought they'd be?
All the time. Lots of them. But the biggest, some of the biggest mistakes we made were what we called Roman candles. They were games that would earn like crazy for a month and then drop off to oblivion.
Sure.
And the best example of that was we did a game called Steeplechase. I'm not sure if you can even find one anymore, because it turned out to be a massive turkey. And what it was is there were 6 horses, and it was a side scroller.
Right, black and white game with colored gels, right?
Yeah, and you'd push a button and the horse would jump, and if you did it the right way, you'd get a little bit further ahead. And it was a game in which you had 6 players. And so it could earn massive amounts of money if you had 6 players going in a regular size. And it was kind of fun about 3 times. And so you collected the revenue the first week, and it was just off the charts. Second week, off the charts. Third week, off the charts. Fourth week, nobody home.
There's actually a fair number. There's a couple of people in the chat who are saying, "I have a steeplechase. We know steeplechase."
Right? They're all
I
like,
want one.
we're totally nerds and we got everything you have.
Right. I want one.
I was actually surprised. I mean, I'm sure that the people that own a steeplechase know exactly what I'm talking about. But,
Yeah.
But what it did, it gave us the confidence to make a big manufacturing release. And just about the time that the revenues dropped was the time we had a lot of games available to be sold, and nobody wanted to buy them. So we basically took a great big bath on steeplechase. It's probably the biggest loss second biggest loss. The biggest loss we did was video music.
Oh.
And that's where I decided that focus groups and projections were worthless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they said we'd sell 10,000 easily, and I think we sold 4 at full price.
Wow.
So there was a question in the chat, and you had mentioned earlier how Pong was just all that was copyrighted was the name Pong. And one of the guys who does a lot of repairs in the community asked about how Nutting was able to release a Pong clone so quickly afterwards, and wanted kind of basically said, how was Computer Spaceball able to come out about the same time?
They were swine bags. They were not only stupid, but they were disingenuous. I came and said, would you like to manufacture Pong? Because I knew we had more demand. And they said, I don't know. Let me see. And I actually gave them a PC board. And of course, we didn't have it patented yet or anything like that. And the shitheads just Xeroxed the board in production.
Oh.
I mean, and
Oh man.
I hesitate to tell this story.
Go ahead and tell us.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
we only have like 200 subscribers. Nobody's gonna know. Just tell us.
All the people that were copying my games pissed me off.
And amen, brother.
Yes.
And so I decided that I was going to get them. And so what I did is we were buying enough semiconductors, the chips at the time, that I could get them printed with any label I wanted. And so what I did is it was a 7400 series. And so like a 7402 was a quad NAND gate, and maybe it was a 7400. But anyway, and what I did is I had those names mixed up, but with a suffix that allowed me to know that for our side, that these parts were not what was in the catalog. So anybody who got one of our products, cloned it, bought the parts, stuck the boards, it wouldn't work.
Nice.
And so we did one game that looked like it was going to be hot. We used that methodology. It was the first time we did it. And there were 2 companies that were on our tail. One was called Meadows Games, and the other one was Nutting. And
nice.
And so we basically kind of set them up a little bit, and there's always what I call a back channel where you can feed. See, I looked at business as a game, and you wanted to mess with the people who are making decisions on the other side, or them to make wrong decisions. So,
sure, that makes sense.
So bad information to the competitors is only good for you. So anyway, both Meadows games and Nutting ended up with a whole production floor full of games that didn't work.
Nice.
And the cost of rework was massive. And we didn't bankrupt Nutting yet, but we severely damaged them. And we put Meadows totally out of business.
Huh.
Beautiful. So it's like you invented copyright protection in a way, with the subterfuge. It's perfect.
It was measures, countermeasures.
Yes.
Here's where the bad taste came in.
Okay.
I told our company that we were going to have a champagne party on Meadows' front lawn to celebrate their bankruptcy. And we invited them. We invited the executives of Meadows to come.
Okay.
Now that's clearly bad taste.
Yeah, they did set themselves up with that.
That's the way I looked at it. People said that wasn't nice, and I said, copying my product wasn't nice, so turned out very clever.
Wow. Oh. Classic. Okay, I'm glad you shared that. Thank you, sir.
I mean, in my dirty, rotten
scoundrel
phase,
yes,
I'm really proud of that.
Yes, that's a beauty.
I will say the guy that does tech work in our shop literally just texted me, "No wonder I can't fix the old Atari games."
Well, the game, if they're interested, it was Quadrupong that we did.
Gotcha.
Quadrupong, nice. How come nobody's made a movie about you yet? It doesn't make any sense.
They're actually working on it.
Oh,
seen the script, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
No, we we've had, as you know, we've had Tyler on the show. And then Adam had talked about the business with your daughter, Alyssa. Adam was talking with Nancy last night. You obviously have a very busy schedule. She's helping to coordinate these things. Your family seems very involved in all of, and not all of these things, but in a number of things. I mean, first of all, how many kids do you have?
I have 8 children.
And
3 girls, 5 boys.
Mm-hmm.
All the boys are involved in some level of the game business. Either with Polycade, Brent with 2-Bit Circus. Are you acquainted with 2-Bit Circus?
Yes.
Yeah. And then Wyatt with Coin Crew. And Wyatt actually designed 3 or 4 of the most highly earning games in 2-Bit Circus. And now he's just did a deal with Adrenaline, and he's got another game coming out, and he's just knocking it out of the park.
Wow. So it looks like we have a lot more Bushnells to interview here.
Yeah, it's a legacy.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you a funny thing about family dynamics. None of the kids wanted to get into the game business. But, that was Dad's thing.
Right.
But all of a sudden they realized at the time when they decided they needed to make some money, that they learned more over at the dinner table and going to trade shows with me and what have you. They knew more about the game business. All of a sudden they said, I can do this.
Nice. Oh, actually, Tyler mentioned on our show that you didn't have a 2600 in the house. Is that true? I know it's a while back.
No, I did.
You did?
You got to understand that my kids, on some level, hate me.
Oh.
Well, not really, but they'd say, "You mean you had the most successful game company, and we could have gotten the games before everybody else, and you sold before I was born, and then you did Chuck E. Cheese, where we could have had all the tokens that we wanted, and you sold it before we were old enough to know."
Right.
Dad, you weren't thinking of us at all. And so I think that it's probably true that by the time they were of game playing age, we'd probably moved on to the Nintendo Famicom or at the very least the Sega Genesis.
Mm.
So what was it? So it was kind of funny. You have these kids who've gone off and done very entrepreneurial things. You mentioned it was over the dinner table. They learned a lot about this. What was it like as a father who did all of this stuff, now watching your kids go off, and what's that like, watching them learn that entrepreneurial spirit, start their businesses? Did you help in a number of them? Did you kind of let them figure it out on their own? How did it feel? What did it look like to you?
I was a member of YPO, and the one thing I noticed with YPO is that the people who were involved in their dad's company, and they were sort of in the same business, they all had a really crappy relationship with their dad. And so I didn't want to do that. And so what I've done is I've told the kids, I'll never invest in your companies. I'll sit on your board, but I really want you guys to learn how to raise money, because I'm not going to be here all the time, and I want you to win so that you can own it yourself. It's a little bit like the way I taught all my kids how to play chess. My wife was always after me because I never let them win. And she said, well, couldn't you make them feel good? I said, no, I'm not going to depreciate what they feel like when they know they've beaten me fair and square. And so two of my 5 boys have beaten me in chess. And they love it, and they just trash talk me till the cows come home.
You made it even better by doing it that way, I think. So
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who beat you in chess? That's the question.
Gavin and Tyler.
Nice.
We had in my house, it was my father was the big day was when I actually beat him arm wrestling. We didn't have a chess tournament going on.
Well, I have a story on that.
Okay.
My oldest son and I decided we were going to wrestle one time. And he was probably 16 and I was 40, I don't know, something like that. And I beat him, but I was sore for the next week. And I said, that's the end. I'm not going to wrestle with my kids ever again.
I'm retiring.
Yeah.
Well, so there was a couple there's a couple questions from the chat that I wanted to give people a chance to get out there. We'll avoid some of them. There's some kind of funny ones here, but so one of the guys in the chat asked, what is your favorite non-Atari, non-arcade game venture?
I was a big fan of the Vectrex. Do you have one of those?
Oh. Well,
yes.
We actually have a fellow on our chat. His name is Wait, Jason 7, right?
No, Arcade Jason.
Arcade
Kopp.
Jason, right. So Arcade Jason actually mods the Vectrex now and makes the games in color. He puts them into arcade cabinets. There's there's even like people who, create Vectrex replica PCBs. It's a strange little niche of, the hobby that has sort of flourished over time.
Well, I loved my Vectrex. I had all of the cartridges. I think that that's kind of an outlier for me.
Totally.
There were several games on the original Sega Genesis that I loved. I can't think of the names of them right now, but we played a lot of them as a family. There's a particular game that is a massive hit in the Bushnell household, and it uses the Xbox, and it's Just Dance.
Yes.
And I think that it beats karaoke as something you do when you've had a little too much to drink and there's a bunch of you to laugh at each other.
And there's another question from the chat. This you may or may not want to answer, but he asked, what do you think was the most inventive or innovative Atari game?
I think Tempest.
Yeah. I love Tempest.
How so?
It was just weird and yet fun.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how do you come up with that? Like, okay, you're in a strange shape and things are coming towards you and you're shooting them and it's 3D and they're it's like I don't know, because I have like a Battle Zone and my Tempest next to each other. I know they share the same math hardware.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, we did this, so why don't we do this? It's like it's such a trippy, concept. I love it.
Me too. I think in terms of weird innovation, that won.
Yeah.
Hey.
It definitely is one of the neater games. It's funny though, because what we find you don't move them much, because if you move them, it's almost guaranteed when you get it from one place to another, some part of it you're going to have to repair again.
Yeah.
Because the 6100 monitors, which are wonderful when tuned, as soon as they get off a little bit. And then lately, the big problem that we've all been having is that the Pokies, which used to be everywhere, are now gone.
Yeah.
And they do go bad. There's actually an FPGA replica of the Pokey now. Because it's becoming harder and harder. A chip that used to be $1, $1, $2 for retail is now those are going for $30, $35.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now's the time.
For a while, people were actually buying Ball Blazer cartridges whole and pulling the Pokies out of them. And then now, like, you can literally sometimes get Centipede boards for cheaper than it costs to buy the Pokies.
That is fascinating.
In when you were doing this, that was a commodity product, right? I mean, that was just, we just have thousands of them on the shelf. This is, a good way to do these functions.
Yeah. Well, the big problem with, Tempest and any of the vector graphics stuff is you were switching high voltage at video rates. And that's really hard, because when you're switching high voltage, tens of thousands of volts at megahertz, the world doesn't like it.
Yeah. The world is a harsh place.
Yeah.
One of the kind of fun things that people have gone in and done these different multi games or different modifications to Tempest. One of my favorite ones was done by Clay, who created Vector Breakout in Tempest, and so you can switch to Tempest Tubes. Then he also has this Vector Breakout version that plays on there. But it was funny because I've talked to him a couple times about I have a cocktail Tempest at my house, And how much fun would this be to have two people playing at the same time?
Oh, that's a great idea.
And I don't have the capacity to figure that out. But I think it would just be awesome. And the question is there enough hardware? Is the hardware adequate to do that? But it would be a really neat game to have two people with two different colored kind of men rotating around the top where you play team play.
The hardware is definitely able to do that. You know, I don't think we were stretching the compute power at all.
Huh. Because that would be, to me, that would be just, that would make the Cocktail Tempest just another level up. I mean, it's already a wonderful machine as it is. I like playing I have this weird fascination with cocktails, even though they take up too much space. But that would really make it a neat interactive game with two people playing that.
Well, you know, the one that I want to get my hands on in a cocktail version was X's and O's Football.
Yes.
That was a game that I just loved the pieces out of. And, and
Adam, go ahead.
I'm fine.
But anyway, and you know, if I were, and I am, here's an interesting thing about having a family in the game business. I'm lobbying Wyatt, my youngest son, who has the coin-operated game business. I said, do a redo of X's and O's Football, but using today's monitors and today's technology, and have a section where we can, and what I'd like to be able to do. Now, have you guys all played X's and O's Football?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Adam owns one. He even customized the trackballs on his.
Sure.
Yep.
So, imagine that you could at home on your PC construct a play that you could now download onto the machine so that it's one of the offensive or defensive plays that you could play, that you could work.
That'd be cool.
And then we have a whole big, you know, esports tournament on X's and O's Football.
Yes.
So you actually have your own custom playbook.
Exactly.
That would be awesome.
That would be
awesome.
Yeah, you know what would, you know what's funny is like taking modern technology, the Androbot. Wouldn't it be weird to take Alexa and all of the knowledge and put it into an Androbot and sort of make it aware? Because I feel like Alexa, you know, a lot of it is scripting, and Androbot was mostly scripting. And so it feels like a natural marriage that just hasn't happened. Like, why is Alexa just sitting there and it can't move?
Well, you know, you're 100% right. And, you know, the people at my company always say that that ships leak from the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold still for Christmas next year.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
You know, I love getting older. Technology just keeps getting cooler. It's so great.
Well, and there's the ability to pick it up.
Yeah,
that is true.
So, I mean, you said what you thought your most, what you thought the most interesting or innovative game was. Is there? I don't know if Tempest is your favorite game to play. I mean, you mentioned the Xbox, but like, is there another arcade game that you enjoy? Just if you see it, you just have to go try it out or play it, or you enjoy hopping on it.
Probably Centipede.
Oh yeah,
interesting.
I like it a lot. Somehow, it's always fascinating. You know, it's an interesting. The way I play Centipedes is 3 or 4 different strategies, and I feel like none of them are really very good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm constantly trying to look for that killer strategy, and it keeps elusive, and elusiveness keeps my interest.
Nice. I actually haven't figured out how Billy Mitchell plays Centipede, but he has something where he loads the game up on in a certain way. And have you ever gotten to see what he does for that?
No.
Billy Mitchell? Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I've always liked Centipede because I always felt happy that Donna Bailey had a lot to do with it, sort of the first female game designer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Classic.
She doesn't get as much credit for it as I think she should. That's just my own opinion.
I agree.
So, can you share? So you've done an amazing number of things, and I mean, you obviously have this family that's going on, and as you said, a legacy doing amazing things. What do you think our listeners are going to want to know? And you've given some amazing insight. What are some of the most rewarding aspects of this amazing journey you've been on? You've just seen an incredible evolution of everything, and you've been such a central part of many parts of it. What are the things that you look at and say, this was the most rewarding, this was the most amazing?
Oh, my family. It's very easy. I think that having a family that is cohesive, for example, almost everybody comes over for Sunday dinner almost every weekend. And we play games, drink too much, and have a great meal. My wife likes to cook for 20 people. And as my kids have children and significant others and in-laws, regularly on a Sunday night, we have 22 people around the table. And we have this wonderful pergola in the backyard. It looks like we're in the Italian, farmhouse, and it's just great fun. And we play board games, and that's been actually quite instructive for me in my developing Echo board games.
There's a comment in the chat, a very nice compliment. Somebody kind of joking around. He's like the most interesting man in the world, but he's real. It's coming out from Andy Baldwin.
I agree.
I resent that.
Wow.
Well, there's a thing. There was a long time when I wanted to be known as crazy like a fox. Kind of off the reservation a little bit, but you never knew what to do. Ever since I met John McAfee, I've decided I don't want to be that person.
Oh, John. Yeah, he's out there.
So that was after you had the champagne on Meadows lawn, right?
Oh man. Yet another good scene for a movie. Hey, is it true that Atari had planned an internet-like network under your watch?
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, obviously that didn't happen, but yeah, I know there were BBSs and things like that during the 80s, and I actually ran a BBS in the 80s. But can you tell us anything about that, or is that just?
Oh yeah.
Concept.
I mean, we had a plan to tell you how lame we were. We were actually do a game network using the 2600. And we had a modem that would plug into the ports. And the idea is you'd have to both have the same cartridge, and we'd just transmit, joystick moves to each player. And the structure was that we'd have a closet full of modems in every area code, because you could make in those days, anything out of your area code was long distance.
Right.
And then we'd link the closets together with T1 lines. So, and literally, the protocol we had was almost identical to the current IP stack for the internet. We didn't have as many address bits, but it was there. It was virtually identical. And then this will you'll get a kick out of this. We had a discussion as to whether people would want to communicate through typing. So,
who was the proponent? Like, people love typing and people hate typing.
well, we said, well, it would be nice if they could communicate. We didn't have the bandwidth to do voice.
Right.
And we talked a little bit about, doing maybe a small voice clip and compressing it and then expanding it on the other end.
Wow.
But we decided that typing was the right thing. But, we said, nobody types.
Whoops.
Whoops. I mean, it's one of those things where when you're a pioneer, you almost always get things wrong.
Yep.
And I think one of the
we had the fastest modems in the world because of that, with low latency, and 100% of the technology. Do you remember a company called U.S. Robotics?
Oh yes, absolutely. They made the fastest modems. I had a lowly Hayes modem.
Yeah, well, U.S. Robotics bought all the IP from Warner, from Atari.
Okay.
So that was the process. And, when they shut the program down, they said, what do we need these modems things for? There's a whole podcast that we would label stupid things that Warner did to Atari.
Warner. They constantly do it's amazing seeing how that company has gone from owner to owner, and it's just constant. It's a comical thing. Hey, what? Speaking of them, actually, you've said you're a big fan of science fiction in other interviews. Has science fiction influenced any of your business ideas?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, understand what science fiction does.
Okay.
It lubricates your mind for the future.
Okay.
Gives you ideas, and when you're a science fiction author, you can invent stuff without the underlying technology being rational or appropriate.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that it will always be inappropriate or too expensive or too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like science fiction's talked about the Ansible for a long time. And the Ansible is basically quantum entanglement, and pretty soon you get the whole idea that quantum entanglement actually could create an Ansible. And so, some of the things that are speculated. My absolute favorite science fiction series around is one called Hyperion by Dan Simmons.
Okay.
A lot of people haven't read it, and I can't believe it because it's like number 1 or number 2 on my all-time favorite books.
Okay, so making an order now. Alexa, buy Hyperion. Oh, wait. Computer, buy Hyperion by Dan Simmons. Oh, it's off. Oh, well.
I should warn you.
Yeah?
The 2 of my sons have tried to do it, and it's what I call a conceptually thick book.
Okay.
And so they couldn't get into it. And it baffles me, but I just want to put that in as a warning that you maybe have to be diligent.
I think that's a good... I'm confused why my computer... By Dan Simmons by Hyperion. Oh, I guess I did it. Oh, well. I have it set to short reply, so there you go.
Well, I think that... do we have any more questions from the chat? Because I'm looking in here.
Did Jason have something?
Actually, there were... Jason's got a couple. There were a couple of questions here. There's a lot of new systems coming out. These new like multi-game systems that are kind of taking a bunch of Atari games and putting them on a retro console. Somebody asked if you had any thoughts on those systems, if you enjoy seeing them, if it's a little, how do you feel about seeing those come out? Do you like to see that stuff? Do you feel like it's kind of taking away from the original?
No, I'd love to see them, except for one thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Everyone that I've played, they get the user interface timing wrong. There's just milliseconds of lag that wasn't there in the regular unit.
Yep.
And the user interface is clunky. And that ruins it for me. Like just a little bit of lag on the pot of the Pong.
Yep.
Bad.
Oh, yeah.
And so those are things that irritate me. If they get it right, love them.
We've talked about this on previous shows, but one of the things, there's these new Arcade 1-Up cabinets, which are interesting because they've turned a lot of attention back to arcade cabinets, which is something a lot of us love. But at the same time, I've sat down to play those a few times, and the control interfaces on them, I mean, like the spinner on the Major Havoc version one is just, it's painful. There's no point in playing the game.
No, it's not just painful. It's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, and it literally is like clicking a switch inside, as opposed to essentially like, I mean, I know the original ones clicked as it was an optical sensor, but the whole feel is just terrible.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't realize, one of the reasons that retro games were so important is that we had crappy sound, we had crappy graphics. The only thing we could do is really focus on timing and stress and user interface. And so we really polished those to a very high degree. And a lot of the game designers right now don't understand. They think that they can go into Unity and knock these games out in an afternoon, and not realizing that they're missing a significant part of the essence of what made the games so wonderful to play.
There was a comment a few episodes ago. I can't remember who made it. Mark will probably correct me, but somebody said that, part of the experience of like playing a game like Berserk was actually having this joystick that made it hard to play the game. And as soon as you put a nice joystick on the game, it's a very easy game. And so the idea that there was an interaction, and I think you're talking about the lag and the timing, but not just that, but also with the controls and how the controls were actually a part of what was presented.
Absolutely.
That could have been Aaron Fector from Rockafire Explosion. Not 100% sure. Are you familiar with Aaron? I mean, obviously you must have crossed paths. Yes.
A number of interesting stories there, some of them involving fires.
Yes.
Aaron's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were competitors kind of, but I always felt that that Rockafire, by doing hydraulics instead of pneumatics, always had a serviceability issue. And Chuck E. Cheese was all pneumatics.
Right.
Now, pneumatics, in reality, was kind of shitty. It was bang, bang, a lot of histories, all that sort of stuff. But man, those things worked forever.
Yes.
Another question from the chat, and I think you've kind of answered this, but I know people like having their questions answered because it's kind of fun for them to. You have to understand that one of the things that was actually commented on earlier was just how amazing it is that you are having this interaction, because a lot of the people that are here in the chat and talking about this really are fascinated with kind of what you've been through, and the candidness with which you're talking is really kind of a treat for us to have. So thank you. One of the questions from Andy in the chat was, how involved were you in game development from 72 to 79? Were you more business? Were you more game? Where did you fit into that picture?
I think that in game design, I was heavily involved 73, 74, 75. 76, the company was big enough that it was almost chewing up all, one of the problems with being a CEO is the press wants to talk to you. Your distributors want to talk to you. You have to make a pilgrimage to Europe and to Asia twice a year. And all of a sudden, the hours in the day, and if you want to maintain any kind of a family life, something has to give. And game design probably took a back seat to what I was doing, though I kept my hand in it. But it's a funny thing about game design is that you get the best outcome if the game articulator is also the game idea person. They love to work on their own games, not so interested in working on your games or my games.
Gotcha. So the person presenting the idea, letting them run with that. And the other question that came up, which actually kind of dovetails into that, somebody asked, they just said they just sold 2 Food Fights joysticks and was amazed at the whole concept of them. How much freedom did the developers have in using these really expensive or creative controls? Did you just kind of, how did that work? I have a a number of games where I look at the controllers and there's nothing else in the world like them. What was the approach to that?
Good controllers were worth the money, and we never skimped on that at all. And if a designer wanted it, this is in the coin-op side.
Right.
If the developer wanted that thing, in comparison, the ratio to the cost of the whole machine, it was de minimis.
So at that, I'll ask, what is your favorite controller that you've? As a game, Tempest, but is there a controller that stands out as you thinking this was really an innovative thing that somebody came up with and presented?
Well, I remember that the first video coin-op game with the trackball was interesting to me. I think the weighted chopped for Tempest was interesting to me. Somehow that the weight of the spinner was really fun. That's about it. Oh, steering wheels. Whoa, talk about the tale of woe. Steering wheels were really, really early on a real problem because Godzilla plays video games and you give them enough leverage and they can break anything.
Right.
And steering wheels were that in spades, just keeping them going.
Somebody brought up the early ads for Gotcha.
Oh yeah.
Is there a story behind that one? We know the ending of the story, but is there an earlier story behind that one?
It was a thing where we thought that Gotcha was a big joke, kind of. And it wasn't a very good game in reality, but it was something we could do easily. I think we designed the whole damn board in less than a week. And we just needed to do something. And the whole idea of having instead of the joysticks, having the joy boobs Totally bad idea.
And so the actually one of the questions came up here, kind of tying into all this. What do you think about some of the modern arcade games, and do you think that they get a little stuck inside the box when it comes to controls? So I mean, a lot of the modern games stick to just kind of buttons, joysticks. Obviously, there's series that continue on, some of the fighting games, but outside of the fighting games, do you think they get too stuck inside the box, or what's your opinion on those?
I actually don't have an opinion on it. I think it's, the games seem to be appropriate for what they're doing. I don't see any real. I've always felt there was the idea of a user interface in which you don't touch anything, where you're basically waving your hands in free space would be interesting. And I've seen a couple attempts on that, but I've never seen a good patch to it. That doesn't mean there isn't, but I think that the whole idea of a non-tactile interface would be cool.
I think one of the things I've gotten to do, which has been kind of fun, is I've been over to Japan a couple of times and been through the arcades there. And they really do have some stuff with the card games and other things with these interactive card and screen games in the arcades. And some of them using more, you're holding a stick, but it's like a virtual reality with a screen. And they do stretch it a little bit over there and how they present things. It's been a blast to go over. I've been over about 2 or 3 times. And it's always fascinating. It's never the same. And everything kind of evolves very quickly.
Agreed.
There was a quick question, more of a technical question from Jason, who came up before. He asked how the maze was generated in Gacha. Was it a recycled Pong score circuit?
Yes, it was. Good catch. Good catch.
This is the same guy who created the color Vectrex. So
yes,
he knows.
He has some insight.
He knows of which he speaks.
Yes, he does.
Oh, and it was funny. He's also actually created a color version of asteroids as well. He's constantly finding ways to take look at what the way the data is conveyed on the PCB and sort of hanging other bits into it so that color, for example, can be sent across. It's pretty interesting as far as taking some of that traditional classic programming and twisting it a little bit on its head. Yeah, that's what we do now.
As we should.
Yes.
It's really one of the neat things is to see some of these people who are very creative, like inventing new ways of kind of keeping the classic feel and the classic play, but introducing just new aspects to it. There was one more question that I'll ask here. The situation, the Bradley Trainer, which would become Battlezone for the U.S. Army, was that as stressful on the developers as it was rumored to be?
I don't have any personal knowledge on that.
Right.
Okay. Well, I think that we are kind of coming to the end of our time here. I know we asked you for an hour, and you've been extremely generous with an hour and a half, and it's been an amazing time with you. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. The chatters are, here, and the comments are many praise, and it just goes on and on. It's people are extremely excited about this. Jason's response to your answer is, haha, I knew it. And so I think the insight has been really incredible. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I just, I've got to do an advertisement here. You've got to go out.
Please.
Oh, plug away.
Tank Noir and have a lot of fun. And next year, think of Echo as Dungeon Master.
Oh. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I was just watching Stranger Things episode 1 again last night and thinking, I remember these days. I don't know if you've seen that, Nolan, but that starts off with the kids playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I mean, I was some fond memories there.
Well, there's one more. Have you guys played Mafia or Werewolf?
I played Mafia.
the party game, 6 or 8 people. And
Yes.
now think about it. It's a really fun game when there are 8 or 9 people. Not fun at all when there are 4.
Yeah, you need more.
You need more. So imagine, if you would, that now we can set up 4 or 5 synthetic players of the game that are acted by Echo.
Oh.
I just want to be your test site.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, we can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, so it's funny because I am a physician now, but before this I was an engineer, and one of the things I loved about engineering was getting together with people who had amazing ideas and just talking about them all the time. And you don't do that as much in medicine. Medicine's much more like you fix them the same way every time. There are some complications, and that's where I have a lot of fun, but at the same time, it's a different feel. And I mean, you just throwing these ideas out is, I mean, it's an amazing throwback to these years that I loved of my career.
Well, I'm actually doing a deep dive on Arduino Nanos right now. Have you guys played with those things yet?
Oh, yeah.
I actually made a light control system for fight sticks that uses an Arduino controller system.
I just love the fact that they're cheap and you get all these libraries and the sensors and all that. I mean, you can spend $50 and do something that cost thousands of dollars back in the olden days.
Oh yeah. And they really are. I mean, the limitation is really your imagination. I mean, what can you come up with? Because it just goes on, and then the permutations and combinations is unbelievable.
We live in such wonderful worlds for the inventor. And let me tell you another deep dive I've done. As I'm 76, and I want to get older.
Yes.
But I don't want to get dumber. Okay? So I did a deep dive on neurogenesis. How do you keep an active mind? How do you keep a cogent mind? How do you keep sharp?
Yep.
And it turns out that doing different things that are outside of your wheelhouse are very important. Foreign travel, as a peasant, is very neurogenic. Learning a new skill, learning a new language, learning how to play a new instrument. These are very neurogenic things. Different is the key. Now, here's the other funny thing about it. When you are working on a new project, it turns out that you're happy.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that if I were a psychiatrist and I had somebody who was depressed, I'd say, go learn how to program an Arduino.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the things, as an arcade enthusiast, I can say what brings me joy is acquiring new projects. But then I have that backside of getting to all of them.
That's what I call project guilt.
Well,
we have a bunch of those.
What's funny to me is I don't have a lot of guilt as long as I have the space, but my wife seems to carry the guilt for me and say, do we really need all of these projects here? And I say, but they bring me joy.
That is one of the things about married life that I can tell you I haven't figured it out. For example, my wife thinks that I have a surreptitious relationship with Alexa. Because Alexa doesn't necessarily respond to her as well as she does to me. She thinks that's odd.
Yeah. Alexa ignores my wife sometimes.
Exactly.
Yes.
That may be some inherent programming. Maybe there's a giant psychological experiment going on with all of us.
Yeah.
And Amazon is saying, like, what if we did this and made it only pay attention to one person in the household?
What I've been climbing into new wake words, and it turns out that wake words are very complex because you want them to be easily pronounceable, but you don't want to have false positives with ambient, normal conversation, TV, what have you.
Yep.
And it turns out that when you have a voice in a slightly lower register, there's actually more data than a higher pitched voice.
That's why. What's the? I mean, because a higher voice would have a higher frequency, so you'd think you'd have more data points. So why?
That, but it turns out that it's not, and I think it has a better match with the oral, because remember that as you lose hearing, you lose it at the high end.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so most of the TV announcers, most of the radio announcers are male because of they're more understandable.
Mm-hmm.
There's a subtle stress when you listen to a woman, even a contralto.
Yep.
And so I think that's actually behind the lack of response on the part of women versus men.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought of that as a. So I can just.
That's a postulate. I can't say that,
So.
Right.
So we can have the women smoke extensively and then see if the reaction changes.
Exactly.
All right, Nina Blackwood. Let's bring her in. She's one of the original MTV VJs. She's great. A little bit lower voice.
Okay, guys, I'm running.
All right, so we're going to wrap up the show today. Let's go ahead and read our end of the show messages. And Adam, are you going to start?
Oh, sure. What am I doing?
We're ending. We're going to let
doing the outro.
Yeah, we're doing the outro. Nolan is ready to leave.
Oh, that's so sad.
Okay. Nolan, I hope we can have you on again in the next 3 years. It's been enlightening and engaging, and you're a great interviewer. I appreciate your patience with us.
Well, and I will tell you that every time I introduce a new game, I'll come back on and be a unapologetic promoter.
Perfect. Could you just do that once a year? That would be good for us.
We'd love to have you.
Yes.
Be good, guys.
All right. So this is where we sign off, right?
Yes. This
Yep.
is it.
Oh my gosh, so much going on. Did you guys hear any music?
Yes,
We
I hear it.
do.
It sounds beautiful.
Oh. All right. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's been a fantastic interview. Fantastic.
It has been.
All right. So,
Best interview ever.
yeah.
Mark, let's just alternate them. Thanks again for listening to the Double R's. That's Arcade Radio.
Like us at Facebook/Arcade Radio, or check our semi-regularly updated blog at arcaderadio.com.
Call and
leave
leave
us
comments on the question. Go ahead.
Call and leave us comments or questions on the game line, 612-548-GAME. That's 4263.
Or you can subscribe to us on YouTube channel and click out. You got to click that little notification bell, so every time we come on, you just get it. You just know we're there.
Right? Subscribe to our podcast, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Music Player, almost anything that makes a podcast.
Right.
That's going to be it for the show from Arcade Radio team. We hope you had a great time. We had a wonderful time. We're signing off, and we'll see you next season.
Next season. It's like 6 weeks away.
That's right.
right.
Thanks, Nolan. You're the best ever.
Thank you, Nolan.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Somebody wrote this music.
And now for the pants. Hey guys, thank you so much